And with more rallies planned, there must be a sense of concern, of apprehension that those sorts of images and chants might be replicated, repeated over coming days, Alex.
There is that concern, and there's a concern that whenever you have a mob together, knowing the mentality of the mob, and the Jewish people know this better than anyone, that anything can happen. And when you have this mob incited by a lot of their leaders, community and clerical leaders as well, then really anything can happen. And you can have individuals peeling off from the mob and carrying out attacks as lone wolves. There are many threats to the community. We're used to this. We're used to dealing with varied threats. We're used to dealing with incitement against us, but things have reached a fever pitch just now.
One individual's already faced charges at the hands of New South Wales Police after alleged harassment of some teenagers at Bellevue Hill. Are you pleased that the security agencies, the police, although maybe slow on the weekend in the face of that first rally, are at least now focused on what needs to be done?
Well, I believe they've learned from their mistakes. There were clear failings with that initial rally. The fact that they were allowed to march from Town Hall to the Opera House, that should never have happened. But the steps that we've seen since, announced by the Deputy Police Commissioner, the measures taken by the Premier, have been correct and have been of great comfort to the Jewish community at this time. And the arrest of that individual who was threatening to kill a couple of boys for simply hanging the flag of the State of Israel from their car. Again, it sends a strong message to the Jewish community that law enforcement is with us and is there to protect us. And it also sends a message to people like that perpetrator that their actions won't be tolerated in any civilized society.
Something I asked Jeremy Liebler earlier, and I want to ask you the same thing, because while there have been pockets, examples of anti-Semitism and really appalling behaviour, the vast bulk of the Australian community, I think, right behind you and your community right now, the Jewish community and the country and the state of Israel. Is that something you're also feeling? I hope that that is something that you and the Jewish community of this country also feel right now.
Thank you, Kieran, for saying so. And yes, absolutely. And we're receiving hundreds of messages all the time from ordinary citizens. I'm being stopped in the street by people wanting to wish the Jewish community well. And this is a time when we need our supporters. And this is a time that has really flushed out the civil and uncivil elements in our society. And I'm pleased that the exceeding majority of our fellow Australians are good, decent human beings who look at those scenes from Israel with absolute shock and horror and stand in complete solidarity with the Jewish community. And I particularly want to mention the support we've received from the Ukrainian community. These are people who are suffering immensely now. They know what it means to face an unsparing, brutal foe who cares nothing for human rights. And yet they have the decency and the generosity of spirit to reach out to our community now and offer solidarity. So I particularly want to acknowledge them. But there have been community leaders and groups and individuals across the country that have offered support, and it means so much to us. It really does.
Evacuation flights begin tomorrow. Do you welcome that the government's got that happening with the support of the national carrier, Qantas?
Yeah, I mean, it's logistically very challenging, I'm sure. And there are so many nationalities that are caught up in this crisis. So many foreign nationals have been killed and abducted and have suffered, looking for loved ones. It's a global crisis, as terrorism causes. Terrorism is not confined to a country's borders. It shatters our whole international system and our psyches. So I understand the logistical difficulties in addressing something like this at this time. And I'm confident the government is doing everything possible to repatriate those people who want to come home.
Alex Ryvchin, appreciate your time at a very difficult time. Thanks so much. Chief Executive of the Council of Australian Jewry, Alex Ryvchin there.